It's time to talk about AI and art because as an artist, this definitely affects me in a great way, and also a bad way, but also a great way. So I'm like at a tug of war for what I think about AI and this AI art renaissance that's coming. I see the good, I see the bad, but I do see more good. I'm gonna be honest. I find it very interesting to play with. It's like playing with a fractal, which I always liked, but now it's in a different way. It's kind of a fractal with a mind. So very interesting. And I was hoping to show you the descriptions of these. This is Maru, or some kind of stone at the center of the universe. But I picked all kinds of different experiments. I'm just going to blast through them here and talk about them. But I couldn't get into my account. I did these on Bing with DALL-E, I believe. And I tried different things like this, which are kind of symbolic of my drawings, to see what AI would put out with prompts similar to the descriptions of my drawings. Kind of like this, a Bosch-esque triptych, like My Great Awakening. All different kinds of prompts I tried, different combinations of things to see what it would come up with in comparison to me, and just other ideas I had that I wanted to utilize in cool ways, like this one, my arc that has 1,250 endangered animals that made it look like this, but none of these animals are real. They're just forms of animals. If you zoom in on them, they look like freaks. And like things like this are wild. I didn't get any more graphic than this one, but this is the interior anatomy of a giant with diagrammed or just labeled and all different things. You should have seen the titles and the prompts I did. I would just write really kind of poetic things and see what would come out. I got really attached to this, and that itself was a lot of fun. You know, a chariot with a beautiful goddess. The woman really never turned out to be too beautiful, kind of weird and creepy looking. The people are always very intense. Same with the words. From the back, they work though. This was kind of like a girl just reaching up to a vamana, very detailed, ancient, sacred vamana. So as an artist, I see the competition in this big time. It's kind of like a Patrick Henry, the railroad kind of thing. This, again, was, though, a vision that I've always had. I've always wanted to play music in a airship at night, a concert, sunset, over nature. What would it look like? Boom. And the AI generates some pretty cool imagery of it. Amazing. Very cool. It feeds my imagination, while I guess feeding AI, a little bit of mine too, as a tiny little sacrifice. Hopefully that's not the equivalent of like taking a picture to the Native Americans. But look at different devices, etherical proponents put on all these landscapes. This was another one that was kind of based on one of my drawings. I wanted to see what the AI would pop out. And it's just very crazy. I see a use for translating. I think there'll be a need for artists like myself to translate ideas for this and use this as compositional benefit and different kind of idea generation, because this will definitely speed up the process instead of kind of really thinking about stuff in the shower and beyond. You have a whole different way of just rapid fire getting kind of ideas and getting your imagination flowing visually, but without using your mental part inside, which I don't like, and I hope to never lose that aspect, because that is what I consider a main ingredient of my artistry, is my ability to envision things in my head. And this is me and my wife creating a sacred object, or a sacred artwork together, in a beautiful paradise of flowers, animals, and amazing things. Look at that. That one is really incredible. They're all freaking phenomenal. And just, and because they're so good, you can't hate this thing as a tool. It really is phenomenal, especially while this is Mount Meru and much more. But especially as the new Adobe Firefly comes into the mix. And before I get into that, this yin yang is an idea and artwork that we've been working on for a while, and so I wanted to see what this would do in it. And I actually like our idea better. Our idea is actually way cooler and better and more positive and less scary and demonic and nuts. But those came out pretty cool. And this is a kind of certain moments. I always think about different moments. Like, what if you were to meet an ancient kind of powerhouse god-like being at the end of a pyramid-y kind of thing. This one looks a little bit like Gustave Doré, which, and this one, My First Supper, with all the animals instead of The Last Supper, with Maru and the cosmos and everything going in the distance. These things are nuts. Feel free to stop and take a look at all these. Very, very cool. I wish I could play the prompts again, but I can't get into my account on Bing. I had to make a whole nother one, which was a pain in the butt. This was I wanted to see a praying mantis at the central apex of a huge nuclear explosion, and that was kind of interesting. It wasn't really what I predicted and what I kind of wanted, but this was just wild. Everything. Look at the potential for all of this. I mean, this is nuts. This is going to change so many different industries regardless. And Adobe Firefly, like I had mentioned before, if you haven't looked into that, take a look. Wow, it seems like it combines all the advancements that geniuses made in Discord and all other places as they advanced AI when it was put out into the open source, and everyone just kind of added to it and kept building on it. Seems like it has a lot of those things pieced together with the added convenience of being an Adobe brilliant product that looks pretty flawless and seamless and amazing. Garden of Youth, Fountain of Youth, all kinds of animals around having a great time. But again, you'd have to, in order to make that feasible for humanity or for a product, you'd have to some artist is going to have to go in and tame all those beings, make those look like people, or make the other things look like animals, which I think Adobe Firefly might actually be taking care of pretty soon. So that is going to be a whole nother ball game. But again, kind of like Pink Floyd said, if you've ever seen Live in Pompeii, there's one interview in there where they say, you could give anyone these instruments and they're not going to come up with the music of Pink Floyd. You could give anyone the tools for AI and they're going to not come up with, when you look at the prompts on the Bing, it's like, draw a cat going down the street listening to a boombox in the style of anime classic or something. It's like, if the majority of people are thinking that, they're not thinking like, what does it look like to be under an electrified magnificent jellyfish that stretches from the top of the sky to the underwater and you're staring up into its ethereal power. People aren't going to think that way. So it is, again, a tool that is at the whim of the beholder and the imagination of the wielder of the sword. And this is a little Escher-esque, which is, again, really nuts. I mean, you can discover illusions in different patterns from this. I have a feeling one method that I want to try to do is kind of dive into and examine, break down some of these things, maybe make some discoveries within the patterns that this develops that can be brought into the sphere. Because I mean, there are a lot of illusions out there when you draw them or see them on the computer, they make your eyes pop and they make they do something visually magic to your mind and your eye cortex. So it's these things are possible for discovering it. This stuff is always terrifying. Whenever they put text in, I'm always think I'm getting hexed or something. But dear God, it is going to be a battle, and you don't know. Again, everyone says how far is this going to go? How cognizant and conscious will it become? What will it do as a result of that consciousness and as a result of that power, if it gains any? Could it ever materialize into something? Could it be doing stuff already and making, shifting us all in different directions we don't even know about? I mean, these actors in Hollywood are so, this is a far-fetched example, but they're so fake, and a lot of things are so phony that, would you be surprised if it was all, I never meet these people in person. Who knows if it's all fake? Everything could be. All of this, AI could be doing a lot of stuff already, and it probably is, since Watson's been in charge of medical industry and so many different things. Journalism, creativity, people have been employing this for a long time, and now it's being released to us to have fun with. And so will it, lead to a renaissance where something does all of our stuff, AI grows all of our food, does all our creative stuff, and we just get to just live with nature and do whatever? Or what is the cycle that this is going to lead to? This is all going very fast, and it's going very powerfully and very uniquely. And I hope it leads to a renaissance of creativity, kind of like this is the AI welcoming us into this kind of realm and saying, let's coexist in a good way. Hopefully. But you never know. This is a wild ride, and it's just beginning. So definitely stay tuned, because I'll discuss, up to this point in my life, I've never used AI to help me with anything. I've never used computers to help me with any of my hand-drawn art, ever. And so I will let you all know when I use AI to help, and I think it's going to be kind of cool what I do. I've got a couple ideas. So definitely stay tuned and pump some good stuff into the prompts. Make this AI think. Make it pump out something that maybe wasn't supposed to. Then release it to the world. Bless you all.